everybody wants to get united. Like, what we gotta do is meet everybody on 149th Street at the bench.
Hey dudes, welcome back to the bench. Today I got a 2026 survival guide for you riders out there. No frills, no bells and whistles, just straight tips that I wish somebody would have told me when I first got into the game. And the very first one is, don't go over anybody else's work for any reason at all. Now I know, as a brand new graffiti artist, you'll find a million and one reasons as to why you should be taking the spot you want to take, that somebody else already has. But I recommend you'll withhold and you don't do it. You kind of take a look at it and you step back. You realize that right now, this early on in the game, you're at the bottom of the totem pole. Your hand styles may not be as clean as you think they are, neither are your throwies or your pieces. And you're still acclimating to the community. You don't want to go ahead and step on somebody's toes and get yourself into a beef this early in graffiti. In all honesty, I put this tip on here because I really, truly believe that at no point in your graffiti career is beef ever worth it. Never have I seen a beef ever be worth it. Now, there is something to be said here about the hierarchy of graffiti and how that works. So, you know, your tags can't go over other tags. Your throwies can go over hand styles, but they can't go over other throw-ups. Your pieces can go over throw-ups and tags, but they can't go over other pieces unless you cover the entire thing. Best way to do that is with some buff paint. And same thing applies for your murals and wild styles, although people may get touchy with those. So once again, I recommend not going over them. Despite this hierarchy though, not everybody cares about the hierarchy. You'll run into riders out there where you'll do a full-blown piece over their hand style and they will swear vengeance on their life on you. And it's like, well, what are you doing at that point? But those people are out there and they're actually pretty common. And this early on, even if you follow the hierarchy, whoever you're going over, especially if they're better than you, may not see your work as being good enough to be going over them. So let's say, for example, somebody has a throwie, a really good graffiti artist, a really good writer has a throwie on a wall, and you decide to go over it with a piece, but your piece is really bad, well, they may go ahead and start a beef just over that. Number two, focus on a good hand style and a good throwie. If you're a writer, then these are your tools of the trade. I know it's really appealing in order to try and do the craziest wild styles and so on and so forth, but understand, because these are the tools that you'll be using in order to get up, you want to make sure that you put your best foot forward. And I'll let you in on a little secret as well. When somebody has a dope hand style and a dope throw up, but they can't do pieces, nobody really makes fun of them all too much. They're still very well respected. I'm sure when I say that, a couple of writers even come to mind. You probably think of hardcore writers and you're like, you know what? I haven't really seen them do a crazy piece or a wild style, but I love their hand style and throw up. However, when you have a writer who can rock pieces and their hand style is trash and their throwie is trash, well, they usually get ragged on a lot more. Hand styles and throwies are the bread and butter of graffiti, man. That's something that you really got to invest time in as a writer, and you got to perfect that. Once you get to a certain point, sure, you can decide, hey, I like this and I'll focus on this form of graffiti as opposed to that form of graffiti. That's fine. But when you're starting out, you want to apply attention to everything and try everything out and become at least a little proficient in each topic. With a focus on hand styles and throwies, as you're a writer, that's kind of what you use the most. Now, if you want a good tag, you guys know what's coming, man. If you want a good tag or throwie, check out my ultimate how to do graffiti guidebook. There you go. That's the book I made. You can find it in the description. But check this out. We've helped thousands of people not only find their style, but they got out of the toy phase with our book, because our book is the only college level education for graffiti. I've been teaching for over 20 years, and I took all that information and condensed it down to one simple and easy to read book that'll teach you all of the general fundamentals for graffiti. You'll learn each one of graffiti's basics, such as how to flow, and you'll even learn how to find and evolve your own original style. You don't have to suffer through the arduous process of trying to sift through a lot of the bad information around graffiti. You could join the thousands who have already picked up the book by checking out digital copies in the description down below over at theartistblock.inc, with physical copies over on Amazon. And now's the best time to go ahead and check it out, because we have a 15% discount code right here on screen that you can use over at theartistblock.inc. Check those out in the description down below. Number three, don't worry about partners or crews. Now, I know you guys hear me talk about this a lot here on the channel, and I actually wanted to make another dedicated video about it because I've been getting a lot of comments recently about partners and crews. But we'll summarize it really quick here. They're nothing but trouble. Sure, they're helpful if you want to go into dangerous areas. It's always good to bring somebody else in order to have your back. But there's a lot of issues with that, such as, can you trust that person to actually have your back when something goes downhill? Most of the time, you can't. So they're not even worth having there to begin with. When you bring somebody with you, regardless of who they are, a crewmate, partner, doesn't matter, you now have somebody else that's at risk of getting caught. You have to worry about 2 people getting caught, 3 people getting caught, as opposed to just one. And if they get caught, the likelihood that they're gonna go ahead and snitch is pretty high. So my recommendation, stay solo, and if you do paint with somebody else, make sure you can trust that person. Bonus tip for you might save your life right here. Don't fight over graffiti. I don't care what it is, don't fight over graffiti. People don't realize how quick a fight can get fatal, and people do die doing this art form. Graffiti is not worth your life. I don't care at what point you are. I know a lot of brand new graffiti artists, they'll say, yo, graffiti's my life, dog. I love graffiti. I'll kill for graffiti. I'll die for graffiti. And it's like, relax, man. It's not that serious. We can love graffiti and we can dedicate our life to graffiti, but we don't have to give our life for graffiti. Respect to those who had the unfortunate, let me be clear, the unfortunate circumstance of losing their life for graffiti, but I can guarantee you they would have much rather have been alive. It's not worth it. So any fight you think, you know, is worth graffiti, it's just not at all worth it. Number 4 is a bit of a strange one, but if you ever find yourself at a DL spot, or any spot for that matter, give writers their personal space and don't kind of invade on that privacy until you read the room. Now, let me go ahead and be clear, this isn't as applicable at legal walls, because at legal walls, it's kind of expected that you'll be socializing and talking to people. That's not a problem. But when you're at a DL spot, you know, one of those secluded areas that's pretty chill, that you can spend a lot of time at, or you just happen to run into somebody when you're also painting some pretty hot walls that aren't a little more tucked away and hidden, once again, give people their privacy, read the room, see if the situation calls for the person to be approached, and if it does, well, hey, go up there and chat with them, see what's up, and you might end up finding somebody that you really get along with. I've had that happen plenty of times. I've struck conversations at DL spots and we were chatting for an hour and a half, easy. Other times, I read the room at a DL spot and I'm like, ah, you know what, I'm gonna leave that person be, and sometimes that works out better. Other times, I've also had it happen, I go up to chat with somebody and they spill their whole life story at me and I don't get a single sentence in at all whatsoever for like a whole hour, and they're sitting there talking about all these crimes they've committed that are not at all related to graffiti, and I'm just sitting there like, what did I get myself into? Why did I decide to talk to this person? I have no idea. Remember, man, I mean, we're talking about graffiti here. You're gonna run into a lot of weird people when you decide to strike up, I can't even speak, when you decide to strike up conversations. So it might even be the case that you don't even want to talk to the person yourself. I remember in the early years of me writing, it used to be taboo to ask what you write. Like, that was a forbidden question. You would rather say Voldemort's name and Beetlejuice 3 times before you ask somebody what they wrote. Now, that whole entire dynamic in graffiti has definitely changed over the years. Did I just, also, side note, did I just make a Beetlejuice reference? Like, half my fan base isn't gonna understand it. That's gonna go right over their head. They're not old enough for that. Goodness, really showing my age. But that just wasn't something that you did. And nowadays, it's easy enough to go ahead and strike up a conversation. Most people will be willing to talk to you, and some people may even have a black book with them. They'll let you go ahead and hit. Now, that won't always be the case. People don't usually bring black books to a DL spot, but you might find it at like those questionable legal walls. You know the ones that are like, ah, it's legal, but like technically isn't, but nobody really cares. Number 5, and probably the most important, if you get caught, don't give the cops a hard time. The amount of times I see brand new graffiti artists, or they even hit me up and they say, oh, John, I got arrested, and like, screw cops, all cops are bad, pigs, man, I hate pigs. And it's like, bro, calm down. You knew what the laws were, you knew what the risk was, you decided to break the law. You got caught, that's your fault. That's your fault. You lost. That's the game. That's the game. That's the game we decide to play. You lost. Just take the loss like a man and take your punishment and keep it moving. It doesn't have to be this whole scene. It doesn't have to be this whole drawn out thing. It's graffiti we're talking about. Like, you're not trying to get away with some crazy, ridiculous conspiracy crime or, you know, espionage or anything like that. Take your lumps, get through the legal system, and handle your business like a grown adult. Because remember, you decided to break the law. That's on you. Take responsibility for your actions. And don't give the cops, oh, it's just art, it's not a crime. They don't care about your ridiculous excuses. Come on, what are you doing? Look, man, I never recommend any of you guys go ahead and break the law, but I'm also not naive enough to think that all of you guys are going to be well-behaved citizens, not catching spots. I've been in the game long enough, I understand, so I'd rather give you guys tips that will help you be safe and give you a better understanding, as opposed to have you running out there wild and potentially get hurt or whatever the case might be. But here's the thing about this little tip right here, is a lot of people, a lot of riders aren't really cut out to be riders, and they don't find out until after they get arrested. And that's when the reality hits them. That's when they start throwing out the art isn't a crime. Oh no, go stop real crimes. And it's like, I'm sorry, I'm having too much fun with this. And it's like, that's usually when people find out that it's not for them. To be fair, because I know there'll be that one comment that's like, oh, well, what if the cop stops you the second you come out of your house and you haven't done anything? Know your rights, that whole thing, yes, and you know, stick up for your rights, but if you're just dead wrong, you were caught in the middle of catching tags and hitting spots, well then, you're in the wrong. Now dudes, if you've got any more tips, if you experienced guys, or even you new guys, have any more tips for new riders that they should learn ASAP, leave it in the comments down below. I want to hear from you guys. But that wraps up today's video. Don't forget about our best, the best book on the market for graffiti and learning this art form. You can find that in the description down below. Digital copies over at theartistblock.inc, physical copies over on Amazon, and if you want the best how to do graffiti tutorials anywhere online, check that out right up here with more graffiti content right down here. I'll catch you guys back here next week. Thanks for watching.